Everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. I'm looking forward to talking with Ari Goldman, Ari, founder of Jiu-Jitsu Flow. Looking forward to chatting with you about your business, about just flow in general. I kind of want to start there. I think everybody right now is, there seems to be, as a business coach, what I see, people feel so overwhelmed. They feel so distracted. They feel more ungrounded. They feel busier. And I feel like everybody's trying to kind of find their flow. And I love what you're doing, and I love your name. But let's kind of start with the name, but work our way backwards. Flow. How do you personally? Because as I work with people as a business coach, I'm always talking to them about where they are stuck and how they get unstuck. And so I think it would be great to kind of start off and share with people. I think a great way is, how do they get unstuck and find their flow?
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be chatting with you. So the name Jiu-Jitsu Flow comes from, first part, Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is martial arts, and something that I've been training for about 11 years now. And the flow aspect for me relates to Jiu-Jitsu, but just life in general. Jiu-Jitsu first, it's trying to get to that state where you're training and things just become very easy. There's a lot of techniques, and there's just a lot of intricate parts of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they might be difficult to, especially for a beginner, to learn. It's a hard skill, a new skill to acquire. But once you are able to pick up the skills and you start progressing, you kind of create your own game based on body type and your ability and what comes natural to you. And so when I think of Jiu-Jitsu Flow, I think of being able to just move with somebody, whether you're training hard in like a competition setting with the goal of submitting them, or if you're just practicing with a training partner and looking to have a continuous flow. And so that's really what I try to do when I train, is be able to do everything with ease and performing a technique, transitioning from position to position, from standing to the ground, from ground to standing, through different positions, and just try to make it look good and have it feel good. And also, obviously, you can relate that to life in general. Trying to get to that flow state. I know it's might be defined in different ways, but for me, it's just when I can get to a place, whether I'm creating new content, whether I'm whatever it is in my relationships, if I can get to a place where it's everything is just seamless and it's like time doesn't exist. That's the state we want to try to be in. So,
Think Community, I appreciate that, Ari. We talk about meditation and quiet time on this show a lot, and the difference between person A and person B dealing with the same stuff is how quickly they can get back into their flow state, back to center. So I appreciate that insight. So let's talk about you. You are building a business. You do a lot of online. You've got a lot of followers on Instagram. Talk a little bit about how you've built your business using social media.
Yeah. So I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 11 years, but it's never been my full-time job. I'm 36. I started when I was 25. And so I'm a competitive person, and I like to excel in jiu-jitsu and whatever it is that I'm doing. But I knew I never had that aspiration of being a world champion and being the best jiu-jitsu competitor in the world. And so, and as the sports, it's fairly new. So people weren't making that much money in it anyway. So I I didn't think I was going to be an athlete that would be able to support myself long term. But I knew it was something that I loved. And while I was working other jobs, many different jobs, I thought I was going to be a physical therapist. I was in real estate. I was working in online marketing. But while I was doing those, found myself always thinking about jiu-jitsu and trying to see how I can make a living doing jiu-jitsu. And then through the years, jiu-jitsu really sounds cliche, but just saved my life. And it saves my life on a daily basis because it helps me just live a positive, in a positive light. I'll just leave it at that. And so with Jiu-Jitsu Flow, around a few months before the pandemic, actually, I started creating Jiu-Jitsu Flow. It wasn't even called that yet. It was just movements that were based on Jiu-Jitsu techniques. And I wanted to try to help people discover Jiu-Jitsu. And oftentimes it's kind of an intimidating thing. You look, maybe drive by a school because they're all over nowadays, or a gym, and you see grown men kind of wrestling on the ground, really sweaty, and it could look a little intimidating, especially for women. And so I was trying to think of ways that I could introduce jiu-jitsu to people, maybe without having to go through that experience, what they see in the gym. And so I started creating movements. I also dealt with a lot of injuries over the years, so I would be sidelined for a while, but I wanted to stay engaged mentally and physically as much as I could. So I would start doing drills. I would be in class on the sidelines, and an instructor would teach a technique, and I'd want to learn it. And so I would just be on the sideline by myself, working on the movement of the technique on my own. That led to start to create a class. And before the pandemic, I was teaching a Jiu-Jitsu Flow class at a local rec center. And it was kind of like a substitute or a new version of like a yoga flow. And it was mainly older people that were doing it. Older for me. They were like 50s, 60s, not actually old, but and they were really liking it. And I was able to explain to them how it applies to jiu-jitsu. And to my my pleasure and surprise, was able to get them interested in actually trying a jiu-jitsu class. When the pandemic hit, obviously that all shut down, and I wanted to be able to still help people with their jiu-jitsu and introducing jiu-jitsu. So I started posting things online, just different movements and workouts that I like to do on my own. And it just started picking up traction. And yeah, that's basically, and I started posting every single day. And then my following started to grow. The feedback that I got really encouraged me to continue doing what I was doing. And so here we are today.
It's great. It's great. So let's talk about, I want to go back and talk about something that how does it save your life?
So it gives me, so at first I've been a competitive person, played sports my whole life. After college, no more sports. What am I doing? I would play in like basketball rec leagues, and it wasn't enough. So when I found jiu-jitsu, I was like, oh wow, this is something that I can train every single day, literally for the rest of my life. Because I would see people in their 70s on the mats having a great time, doctors, lawyers, whoever, and they were having a really great time doing it. So I knew right away this was something I could do forever. Although I've always been into physical activities, you know, we go through our struggles. So I've had issues with addiction in the past, and this has helped me just show up for myself every day. It motivates me. I don't want to go into a class and get my butt whooped. So it motivated me to stay in shape, stay healthy. The community really supports me, and whoever's training. Just the jiu-jitsu community in general is an awesome community that nowadays, since it's grown, you could literally find a gym almost anywhere in the world. So the motivation to stay fit, the community aspect, the problem solving, it really gives me confidence on a daily basis where I'm overcoming something. Because every time you go to the gym and you train with someone, you're forced to just deal. You're forced to stay in the moment, and you deal with struggle and that problem solving. And even if you don't solve that problem in a specific role or sparring session, you have support from your teammates, and so that feels good to put yourself out there. And for me, it's given me confidence in other aspects of my life, whether it's relationships, career, and so it really has like enhanced me and helped me be a better version of myself, like every day that I train.
I love it. I've always wanted to I have a lot of friends who do jujitsu, and I've always wanted to do it, but I feel like I don't even know how to get started. Wouldn't even know where to go. It seems like such a long road. So what do you say to somebody who, doesn't have a lot of time, wants to get started? Where do you even begin?
Yeah. So there's a lot of barriers that people that they run into, whether it's time, energy levels, not being able to find a gym. I mean, finding a gym is easy nowadays with the internet. You go online, you look at Google jiu-jitsu near me. Most people will be able to find somewhere pretty close. And gyms nowadays have classes, starting at 6 a.m. through 8 p.m. So you could do a morning class, afternoon, lunch class, evening class. So there's a lot of options for classes.
Yeah.
And if you're not anywhere near a gym, there's online resources. There's, like what I have going with Jiu-Jitsu Flow, something that you can practice movements on your own. You don't need, because that's another barrier. The entry is having a partner, because maybe you're not near a gym. So how can I work on jiu-jitsu at my house? Standard jiu-jitsu, you need a partner. With Jiu-Jitsu Flow, you can practice movements on your own. You don't need any equipment. You can do it on a yoga mat, on your living room carpet, at a park, beach, whatever. And it gives you, it parlays into another barrier to entry, which is that lack of confidence. Like, how do I even get started? I don't even know how to tie my belt. I don't know the name of anything. I'm not a physical person. I've never played a sport in my life. There's resources like Jiu-Jitsu Flow where you can practice things behind closed doors, get comfortable with the movements, the terminology of different techniques and positions. And then when you are able to go to an actual class, you have a little bit more confidence and can actually train. So those are just a couple. But to answer your question simply, go to Google, look for a jiu-jitsu gym near me, and go check it out.
Gotcha. I love that. And so talk to me about, so there's working out, there's jujitsu, there's the flow. Talk about nutrition and where that kind of fits into the flow.
So in all honesty, my nutrition, I don't know too much about nutrition. Throughout my life, I just try to eat somewhat healthy. I try to stay away from bad food. So like fast food, I don't eat much. I'll have In-N-Out burger from time to time. But I really just try to eat what feels good. And when I say feel good, like I try to tap into how my body's feeling. And I do that. You had mentioned meditation at the beginning of this, and I do a lot of breath work. That's my form of meditation. And through that breath work, I try to tap into just being connected with my body.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, she over the last year has really helped me. She's a fitness trainer and does nutrition coaching, and she's helped me a lot with the science of nutrition and learning about the macros and counting macros. And but it really depends on your goals.
Yeah, it's great. So what's one thing someone can expect to kind of get from jiu-jitsu the first 90 days? This is a double question, Ari. Get from jiu-jitsu in the first 90 days, and what's a tip to commit, right? Whether it's going to the gym or even buying your program, jujitsuflow.com. What's the recommendation of how to stay committed?
Not having any expectations other than the willingness to show up. The first 90 days are probably going to be the hardest because you're walking in to a blank canvas and you're expected to create this beautiful drawing or painting, and you don't know anything yet. So it's going to be very frustrating. So I would recommend not having the expectations that you're going to be submitting people and doing really good within the first 90 days, because it's just not going to happen. So no expectations other than having fun and showing up.
Good. That's great.
Yeah, you can leave it at that. I could expand on that, but that's a good start.
I love it. I love it. So I love it. Think Community, we talk a lot about kind of finding space in your business, finding space in your life, finding space to kind of recalibrate, regulate yourself. And jiu-jitsu, from all the friends that I have that do it, they echo the same thing. And sometimes it's hard to kind of like, maybe see what you see online and exercises to see what the whole like community is, right? Like, and it's kind of like pickleball. When you watch it, it doesn't feel like a workout, but when you play it, it really is. Right?
Oh yeah,
it's really fun, and you watch it. You're like, oh, that doesn't look like it's competitive, but when you play, and I was playing last night, it gets really competitive. It is a great workout, and so I'm gonna try to do my best to kind of figure out how I can take the first couple steps, because I've wanted to learn it for some time.
Pickleball. But sorry to cut you off. Pickleball is awesome. My mom actually is really into it. She plays like 5 times a week now, and I play tennis. I have 2 older brothers, and we played a lot of tennis growing up.
Yeah,
and so I was like, pickleball. I was like, it's a slower version, whatever. Right. But she ended up getting me out there on the courts, and I see why I think pickleball is like the most fastest growing sport around right now. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'd say one thing with jiu-jitsu, why the community is so strong. There's just something different, like instinctual connection and feelings that you have with your training partner. I've played a lot of sports: baseball, basketball, football, tennis, golf, love bowling, pickleball now, and you get a bond when you're doing an activity with somebody, especially when you're enjoying it, and even when you're not. But jiu-jitsu, there's just something that's a little different, that you have a closer connection with people, and you don't even have to verbally communicate with them. They're like, you can walk into a room and not say too many words to people, maybe hi, whatever. You start training, and this internal connection that you have with somebody when you go through those struggles and training, and can feel them, because it is a kind of up close and personal activity. It's really a special bond, and I think that's one of the reasons why the community, the jiu-jitsu community, is so strong.
It's great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. All right, quick speed round. Ari, a book, a TED Talk, or an article that's had the biggest impact on you?
Atomic Habits, the book.
James Clear, it's so good. Yeah.
I finished reading that a month or 2 ago, and yeah, that had a profound effect on just my daily routines and how I look at uh, activities that I do, and just time management in my days in general. It was an awesome book.
Yeah, that book is great. I highly recommend it.
Mhm.
Best piece of wisdom you've ever received, Ari?
My first jujitsu coach in San Francisco let me know, because I travel a lot, trying to figure out over the years, just trying to figure out how to what to do in life, what career I'm doing. I moved a lot. I wanted to see new places, and he told me, wherever you go, you're always taking yourself. So
Yeah,
if you're not working on yourself, wherever you go, things aren't going to change. It doesn't really matter. And it was in like broken English, because he was Brazilian, and uh, so I don't know if those are the exact words, but it really hit home with me that whatever I do in life, if I need to change my inner self if I want anything externally to improve.
yeah. That's a great place to end. Ari, I appreciate you taking time to be on the show and talking about not only jujitsu and jujitsuflow.com, but the importance of really from the inside. Things are from the inside out. And we talk about a lot of these through lines in the show. I do a lot of my coaching as well, but it is raising awareness, frequency, vibration starts with us. So I appreciate it. Ari, thanks for being on the show. I think people can connect with you at jujitsuflow.com, right? Anywhere else they can reach out?
Yeah, jujitsuflow.com is my website where I have my online program, but you can follow me or connect with me on any social media platform: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all at Jiu-Jitsu Flow. And flow is spelled without the W, so FLO.
Awesome. All right. Thank community. You can reach me at johndwaskin.com. Ari, this was great. I appreciate your time and thanks for all the wisdom you shared today. I loved it. I loved it. Thanks so
John,
much.
thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.